Cheers everyone. Okay, you look a bit young. I might need to see some ID because we're going to the pub. Roll Out the Barrel, the British pub on film, is an absolutely fascinating 2-disc DVD set from the BFI. I'm not going to go through every film that's on this set, but I really just want to talk about the overall flavour of it and then just highlight 3 films. One of the films is possibly one which you might actually have in your collection and maybe you don't realise it. But yeah, the British pub, what does it mean to you? If you are British, do you go to the pub nowadays? What kind of experience do you have? If you went when you were younger, what kind of pub life did you have? Equally, if you're not British, do you think of the pub, the British pub, as being essential to Britishness? What kind of thoughts of the British pub do you have when you think about Britain? So we definitely have the origins of pubs, public houses, taverns shown here, and how they were used as places of refuge, places of shelter, places of community meetings. Then we also get to see how the pub was important during wartime as propaganda to show that the British spirit wasn't going to be thwarted and that everyone could remain cheerful and enjoy a drink and a sing-along. And then as times evolve, we get all different kinds of pubs. We get the pubs that are in the quiet village by the cricket green. We get city pubs. We get working men's pubs and clubs. And then we also get other countries being interested in British pub life and them wanting to replicate that. And so some of the films even show some pubs or part of pubs being shipped abroad. And there's even a few short films here that are of a comedic nature featuring actors that include Richard Briers, Bernard Cribbins, Richard Wattis, Michael Dennison, and even a couple of the Monty Python crew. We get Michael Palin and Terry Jones doing a light-hearted sketch about how to do pub pump maintenance. But overall, this collection of films, which vary in quality, it must be said, but there are some absolutely great ones on here, but they just give such a fantastically fascinating overall perspective of British pub culture and how it's changed over the years. Definitely when I was younger, I would use pubs in different ways. Sometimes I would go for walks in the countryside and then end up in a quiet country pub where I could just sit outside and read a newspaper with a quiet pint. Absolutely loved that. Then equally, there might be other times when I was at work and the whole of our office would actually go to the pub on a Friday afternoon and join all the postal workers there, and that would just be a full afternoon of banter and drinking and just good times. And then also there's the sort of weekend pub life as well, which was very much a noisier affair where there would be dance and music and crowds and hoping to chat someone up. But there's just 3 films in particular that I'd just like to talk about, which I found particularly brilliant. The longest one is from 1969, 50 minutes, and it's Under the Table You Must Go. Absolutely fascinating, and it really shows this cultural shift at the end of the 60s, where, if you like, the youth were kind of taking over the pubs and wanting much more from them. They weren't just places that you would go to sit and drink quietly and play dominoes any longer. They wanted entertainment, they wanted drink, they wanted music, they wanted dancing. So we really get to see this cultural shift. And this particular documentary just really covers it all and has some absolutely fascinating interviews, including interviews with ex-heavyweight boxers who decided to end their careers and take over pub management. We get to see some sports personalities and presenters such as Jimmy Hill, you might remember him, and then also musical presenters as well. Jonathan King is in this, going to one of the pubs which is very music-based. It really is absolutely fascinating, and as a document of a particular time period, just brilliant. Now, the other one that I really want to talk about is Guinness For You from 1971. Now, of course, other alcoholic beverages are available, but Guinness is quite a special one. Now, for me, when I was younger, I don't know if anybody else remembers the Surfer ad that came out in the late 90s. It was actually directed by Jonathan Glazer, but it used that left field Fat Planet music, the and it involved all that surfing and the horses. Does anyone remember that? You know what I'm talking about? But anyway, that was a brilliant advert for Guinness. But the most fantastic and brilliant advert for Guinness is on this set, and it's a 15-minute film called Guinness For You, and it has extraordinary soundtrack to it that's provided by Tristram Carey, who is a gentleman who was involved in the invention of the synthesizer. And yeah, the sound quality on this particular montage of images is just brilliant, and the actual imagery as well is just incredible. And I would say that as a total advertisement for a product, you will not see a better film than Guinness For You. And by that, what I mean is that you're not just seeing the Guinness pint. What you're seeing is the whole process of hops being grown, how the hops are mashed and the mash tuns that they use, the very particular kind of monitoring of the process that is done, but also the manufacture of Guinness glasses that you're going to drink from, and the bottle as well. All of that is shown in this video. So you get this really complete picture of a product of Guinness Extra Stout. The camera work and the quality of the filming is just brilliant. It's so stylish. What's really fascinating is that the notes that are included within this set show that the BFI did approach the producer of the film, Eric Markey, to let him know that they had been able to restore the film and that they were going to release it on this set. And he was very, very dismissive of it. He said that actually he couldn't really remember too much about it at the time, and that he thought it was all very clever dicky in terms of its approach. So he did actually re-watch it, and he didn't change his mind. He still thought that it was a terrible piece of film and that all copies of it should be destroyed. Thankfully, that didn't happen, because I must say Guinness For You is an absolute masterpiece in terms of what you're seeing there as a total representation of a product. I think it's just extraordinary. And then the final one I want to mention, and this is where you might come into it because possibly you have it, but yeah, it's a film from 1967 and it's called The Ship Hotel, Tyne, Maine, and it's directed by Philip Trevelyan. And the reason I'm mentioning it to you is that possibly some of you actually have it as an extra feature if you got the BFI release of the reissue of Get Carter, which was filmed in Newcastle. So it is an extra on there, so perhaps check your copy of that if you have that BFI release of Get Carter, and definitely watch it. It is superb. So the Ship Hotel, it is a pub that's on the Tyne. This is a black and white film, and it is, again, just extraordinary camera work and a real sense of time and place, and I absolutely loved it. Now, Trevelyan's approach to making this film is a little bit like Robert Flaherty, the documentary filmmaker who made films such as Nanook of the North, in that he's giving you something that looks very real, but there is an element of reenactment that's in there. So Trevelyan does do that with the Ship Hotel in terms of how he populates this pub, because what we're seeing is a landlord getting ready to open his pub and then all these different customers arriving. And we're getting a really fantastic portrayal of all types of characters who come to this pub. So we've got the quiet rag and bone man who just wants to sit and drink quite heavily. We've got an old dear who sits in a corner and wants to have a laugh but ends up going outside for a cry. We've got another guy who comes in and he's looking to chat a girl up. Yeah, all different kinds of things going on. A couple of old guys just playing dominoes. But again, the camera is just focused so intently on each of them. It really is just fascinating, and you're really getting a sense of everyone's character. I absolutely love this short film. It's just brilliant. So like I say, you may have it if you do have that BFI Get Carter release, so check that out. Now, a funny thing for me the other day is that when I watched The Ship Hotel, I was so enraptured by it that I was then looking up Philip Trevelyan to see what else he had done, and then I was able to actually find out that, yeah, he's still around, and he's actually nowadays an organic wheat farmer in Yorkshire, and I was able to actually get in touch with him and just let him know how much I loved this film, and I did get a response from him, which was really good. And then I found that he had also made this film, which I'm hoping to receive a copy of soon, courtesy of my sister, and it's called The Moon and the Sledgehammer, a really pivotal documentary, if you like, that's about a family that chose to live off-grid. A very important documentary that came out in the 70s, and it's just had a 50-year anniversary restoration just a few years ago. So I look forward to talking about that one. But the really fascinating thing for me is that right when I was looking up the moon and the sledgehammer on a website, someone actually commented on my previous video about movie milestones, and they let me know their movie milestones for 2024, and it included seeing the moon and the sledgehammer. And I was absolutely gobsmacked by that. I mean, what are the chances that someone's commenting at the very same time that I'm on a website for the film that they have seen, which likely not many people have seen. Just extraordinary. So I just thought that was fascinating. Anyway, I'm waffling now, so I will shut up, and clearly I need another drink. Okay, thanks very much for watching this. Hope to see you again. All the best. Bye.